there, I'm Lauren. Today I'm going to show you a quick workout that you can do at home using mini bands. This workout is going to focus on the core and the upper body. I really love mini bands because they're a really versatile and packable piece of equipment that you can take with you when you're traveling or you can use in a small space, and you can use them in a lot of different ways. I'll link to the bands that I have that I like in the description to the video if you want to check them out. I'm going to do this workout with a light resistance and a medium resistance. So you don't have to use the same brand that I have, but lighter and medium are going to be probably your go-tos. Of course, you can always experiment with the uh, tension and use a heavier or lighter band as you need. So today we're going to start laying down. I'm going to put my light band off to the side. My medium band is going to go around my knees, and I'm going to lay down on my back. So I have it just above my knees on my thighs. I'm going to lay down on my back with my feet hip-ish distance apart. So generally my feet, knees, and hips are all in a straight line. There's not a ton of resistance, but they're with my knees pushing into the band, but there is just a little bit of tension. And here I'm going to start with taking a few deep breaths. I'm finding my neutral pelvis, so I'm not trying to press my low back into the ground. You can always rock your pelvis back and forth a couple times and try to find kind of a middle position. And here I'm going to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. I'm imagining that I'm blowing out a candle. So there's a little bit of force. Just going to do a couple more breaths like that. Hopefully feeling a little bit of core engagement with that exhale. One more time. And then I'm going to start lifting my hips up into a bridge. So I'm going to articulate, which means that I am starting by curling my pelvis. I am pressing my low back down, and then I'm peeling my hips up nice and slow, trying to move one vertebra at a time, keeping that little bit of tension into the band. You don't need to go all the way up your first time, especially if this is your warming up movement. I'm definitely warming up right now. My body's feeling kind of stiff. So I'm just going to go a little bit higher each time. I'm focusing on that sense of curling, but I'm also feeling my glutes and my hamstrings working. And when I come back down, I'm trying to put myself down nice and slow, thinking about keeping my butt off the floor as long as possible. When I'm up in my bridge, I'm trying not to let my ribs pop up and out like this. I'm thinking about a straight line from my shoulders through my hips to my knees when I'm at the highest point in my bridge. If your hips and quads are really tight, you might not get them open. You might not get them flat all the way, and that's okay, as long as you're really feeling that work in the back of the leg and you're not thrusting your ribs up. You can press your arms down into the mat for just a little bit more connection. I'm going to do that one more time. All right, so now that I'm back down on the mat, I'm going to find neutral again. And now I'm going to open one knee out to the side. So my right leg is going to stay nice and still as my left knee opens. I'm only going as far as I can maintain good connection through my core. So I'm trying to keep my hip bones pointing straight up. And if I feel myself starting to roll, I've gone too far. The other thing that I'm paying attention to is my non-moving leg staying still. So if I'm pushing that into the band to counterbalance, I'm going to feel it. And I want to avoid that feeling of pushing out through my still leg. I'm going to do one more after this one on this side. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit of engagement through the side of your butt. You feel those abdominals just working to keep things still. So it's not a huge amount of work through the center, but they are kind of just having to keep things from moving. And I switch sides. I'm doing about 6. And take a deep breath in here and exhale as I'm opening the leg. Still paying attention to the ribs staying kind of settled. So for me, I can feel the back of my ribs on the mat, and I want to feel them pressing down into the mat as I exhale and as I inhale. I'm going to do one more. Okay, now we're going to combine the two. So I'm going to lift my hips up into a bridge. This time I'm going to hinge up. So I'm trying to keep my back pretty flat and press my hips straight up to find that straight line. Ribs are staying in. My knees are reaching towards my toes. And then I'm going to open one knee. We're just going to do 4 here. And now I really have to work to keep my pelvis still, to keep it from wobbling as my leg moves. My leg's not moving so far as it was when my butt was on the ground. I'm feeling a lot more work back here. And then I'll do the other side. Last one. Whew. And hinge back down. All right, I'm going to lift my legs up to tabletop. So that means neutral spine and pelvis, still not pressing my low back flat. And then my legs are up, my knees are over my hips, and my shins are parallel to the ground. My neck is relaxed, right? So if you're like holding your legs up like this, right, your neck and shoulders aren't actually helping you. Keep those ribs in. You can press your arms down onto the ground. And I'm going to start by just tapping my toe. So just gently pressing into the band. It shouldn't be a ton of work. If it is feeling really hard, you can switch to your lighter band. This would be a good place to know if this tension is appropriate for you. And then I'm going to start reaching one leg away, right? Just getting a little bit more resistance, maybe feeling the back of your leg turning on. Only moving your leg as low as you can keep good support through here. So if your leg's dropping really low, but your back is arching or your belly is kind of bulging up, then you're probably dropping your leg too far. So keep your leg in a range where you can feel like your belly is tight, your belly button is pulling up towards your ribs, and your low back is staying nice and still. I'm going to do one more. And then I'm going to take my legs into rest and give yourself a little wiggle. I'm going to lift my legs back up to tabletop. And now I'm going to try to tap both feet on the ground. So this is another one where I'm really paying attention to what's happening through my spine. If I can't get my feet all the way to the ground without doing this, then my feet aren't going to go all the way to the ground. It's okay to just go to here if that's as far as you can go and maintain a good connection. If you can go to the floor, awesome. And then we're going to add on. So I'm going to tap my toes. I'm going to lift them up. I'm going to open my knees, keeping my toes together, and tap my toes again. Close the knees, tap. Open the knees, tap. I'm going to do 2 more in each position. Last one. And rest. All right, I'm going to put the band around my feet now. My feet are going to be flexed. And I have a little twist, so I'm going to fix it. And now, from here, I'm going to start with one leg reaching away again. More resistance now that the band is on the feet. All right, so we're going to put the feet down. We're going to come back to that motion, and I want you to reach your arms up. So here, you're going to exhale, reaching your arms by your ears. My elbows are staying straight. My palms are facing each other. And my hands are staying shoulder width apart. I'm only reaching my arms back as far as I can maintain all those things and keep my ribs in. I'm thinking about turning my elbows in towards each other. And if I feel my upper arm bones start to roll out and roll away from my cheek, I've gone too far. So exhale those arms back, ribs are staying connected to the mat. Inhale them up. One more time, just like that, and then we're going to combine this movement with the legs. So my legs come back up here, my arms are up, and now one leg reaches out, arms reach by my ears, and back and switch. Exhale. All those same things about your core, belly button staying tight, pulling towards your ribs. I'm going to do 4 more, 2 on each side. Whew. And rest. And take my hands behind my head. Lifting up my elbows a little bit so they're in my peripheral vision. I'm going to curl up. I'm going to lift my legs back up. And now one leg reaches away and switch. We're just going to do 2 more of these, and then we're going to add in a twist of the upper body. So now I'm going elbow to opposite knee. We'll do 4 more. Last one. And rest all the way down, and I'm going to take that band off and grab my lighter band and sit up. So we're going to do a couple of arm movements with this next series of exercises. So let's take a look at them really quick before we add them in. So I'm going to start with my band on my forearms at my elbows, sitting up nice and tall. My palms are facing each other and my elbows are in line with my shoulders. If you're feeling a lot of stress and tension in your neck while you're doing this exercise, you can have your elbows lower than your shoulders, but you still want them kind of in front of you rather than all the way down here. I'm also thinking gently about pressing my elbows forward. So I'm feeling a little bit of engagement through my armpit and the sides of my ribs. And I'm still thinking about keeping my ribs in. So I'm going to start by just opening my arms. And notice when I open my arms that I don't pop my chest out. So I'm imagining somebody's fingers right in my solar plexus, right here, pushing back as I open my arms. The other thing about this movement that I want you to pay attention to is that you're not trying to pull your arms behind you and pull your shoulder blades together, right? So I'm not feeling my shoulder blades pinch like that. I want my shoulder blades to stay kind of wide on my back, and I'm thinking about trying to touch my elbows to either wall. So this is about opening and getting broad rather than trying to pull back behind you. So that's movement 1 with the upper body. Movement 2, you're going to hold the band in your hands like so, and we're going to draw a bow. So one of my arms is going to stay reaching straight out. The other arm pulls back, and as I do that, it pulls me into a little bit of rotation, and then I switch sides. So that arm that's in front stays still, and the rest of your body is kind of pivoting around it. All right, so those are the upper body movements. Now we're going to sit with our legs in front of us. Feet are on the ground. There's kind of a relaxed bend in your knees, and you're sitting up on your sits bones. I'm going to put the band around my elbows again. So back here. And now I'm going to roll back off my sits bones. So I'm going to start with just my lower body movement now, keeping my arms still. I'm tucking my tails, rounding my low back, rolling back. I don't need to go super far. And back up. Now notice that my upper back isn't collapsing while I do this. So it's not this, where I allow my upper back to round, my shoulders kind of creep forward and up. My chest is lifting up the whole time. Nothing's changing in my shoulder position. And this is all my low back rounding and this feeling of trying to tuck my tail between my legs. I'm going to add the upper body movement into it. So here I'm going to take a deep breath. As I exhale, I'm rolling back and opening. Exhaling as I roll back. Inhaling up. Keeping that sense of reaching through my arms. I'm going to do 3 more. That lifting up through my chest. And that curling through my tail. All right. So now moving on to the drawing a bow movement. My arms reach straight out. I'm doing that same rocking back, but now I'm adding this pull and twist. So deep breath in, exhale, curl and pull. And to the other side. Now notice while I do this that my knees are not wobbling from side to side and I'm not shifting through my pelvis. So we're trying to isolate the rotation to the waist, and you shouldn't feel any shifting through your hips or feeling your weight slide from side to side or your knees or feet shifting while you're doing this, right? So I'm really trying to just turn from the waist, but keep my pelvis, my legs nice and still. So it might mean not rotating as far. It might mean not rolling back as far. And those are fine things, right? We're just trying to figure out where can you work and do all of these things at the same time. We've got 4 more. All right. So we've got one more little set of things to do. We're going to lay down on our belly. We're going to put the band around our forearms again. So here, I'm opening up my arms, so they're kind of to my sides. There's some tension in the band. I'm not going to move my arms right away. It's just kind of there. My forehead's down. I'm thinking about gently trying to draw my belly button away from the ground. And I'm reaching out through my legs. I'm not trying to squeeze and clench my butt, but I am just trying to find a little activity through my lower body. Then keeping my arms still, my shoulder blades are reaching down towards my back pockets. My head and chest lift up. My neck is relaxed. I'm looking out and down. We'll do that a couple times, thinking about the shoulder blades really leading the movement. One more like that. So on the next one, I'm going to let my arms hover up with my body. And now I really have to think about my low belly working, that sense of trying to pull it away from the ground, so that I'm still doing this movement with my upper back and not my lower back, which might look more like that. All right, the next one, I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to let my arms reach forward. My thumbs turn up and back and forward and back. Trying to keep this out of my neck. You can let your arms just kind of slide on the floor if you're getting a lot of neck tension. My hands are staying wider than my shoulders as I do this. I'm going to do 2 more. And come all the way down. I'm going to take that band off. I'm going to sit all the way up because we're done. You did it. Nice work. Thanks for joining me. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment and I'll get right back to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. I try to drop videos once or twice a month, and I'll see you next time. Bye.